Alright, so for today's lesson, what I want to talk about is the concept that a lot of people tend to mess up on, and it's timing. And by timing, it's not specifically when you get somewhere, but how to waste time on a site and to delay as much as possible. Because one of the greatest things on CT's side is your ability to delay long enough that you might be able to win by wasting time off the clock. And that within the minute and 55 seconds that you have, time is up and you have won. Because it takes 4 seconds, give or take, a little under, to plant the bomb. And if you're able to delay down to 3 seconds worth of time, you win the game. So being able to delay is a key skill set that every player should have, but a lot of players tend to not have even at higher ranks. So what does this exactly mean? Well, first off, there's a few different ways. First off, that you can delay is coming towards any position and you're taking fights. This is able to slow down the enemy's progression. So if you're on CT side and you peek down banana and you take a few shots and you fall off the corner, what's going to inevitably happen for the T side is they're going to be a little bit delayed. They're going to think you might be able to be peeking towards car, and they're going to wait a second. If they notice nothing goes on, they'll make progress. Now what they might do too is, instead of delaying, is they'll waste utility trying to push up. Meaning they might throw a Molotov on car, or they might throw a flashbang down banana. And they'll use this to gain land by this analogy. They'll be able to push up and they'll have more real estate to abuse. Now, what you want to do is you're trying to delay as much as possible and waste utility, making it harder for them to take the site. So what you've done effectively as you peek down banana is you're able to take the shot, fall off, hold the corner. You've been able to waste then a Molotov or a flash, or potentially even both, for little lost on your end. So now as you're holding corner, same thing happens here. You're delaying, you take a few shots, and you're able to fall back. And what they'll be doing is they'll think you're corner. And again, maybe they're going to have to expend a flash. So what a teammate will do is set them up and throw a flashbang over, as a teammate's close is able to peek off of it. And he's able to take as much more real estate as he can. And then from here to execute onto site, typically what a lot of players will do is just throw a smoke CT side, and then they'll throw flashes over, and then they'll execute out onto B. Again, what's going to be happening here is you're throwing your utility out, and what you should do is delay. There's a few different ways you can delay, and it depends on your utility and the situation. The easiest one would be to counter with just a straight Molotov on the ground. What you're doing there is you halt them from rushing straight out right at the start. No one's going to run through the molly because they're going to be taking upwards to 50% of their health down and damage. So from there, people are going to have to wait. A lot of people are going to be hesitant, especially at lower ranks. No one's going to want to rush through. However, maybe you don't have a Molotov, and instead you have a smoke. So just bounce the smoke off, and you're able to, again, delay the push. Because a lot of times people are not going to want to push through a smoke, often in pug environments. So people are going to be waiting behind the smoke, which in turn makes their smoke be useless. If they throw a smoke CT and you counter it with the smoke, they've now wasted a smoke for a smoke. And that delays again another 13, 15, 20 seconds, because the teammates might have to jumble around and find out who has a smoke, some utility, some flashes, or they might have to go and try reformulate a plan. So it's important to be able to delay in those regards. But let's assume you have no utility. The enemies come out, they throw a smoke CT, maybe they throw a smoke coffin, and maybe they full execute out with Molotovs. Well, another way to delay is you can sacrifice your life if there's another person on site. This is only recommended, again, if another person's on site, because if you're throwing away your life, you're giving up site for free, and you're not able to delay time as much. But if there's another person on site, you can peek out, take that fight right there, and sure, you might die, but you might get 1 or 2 kills. And that's going to make the enemy a little bit more hesitant. Again, it's a game of seconds. It's not about trying to prolong them for a whole minute, 2 minutes as time ends, but instead delaying a couple extra seconds, so that way a rotate can come over from a site, or that way you can delay on site best you can to maybe kill the bomb planter, or they don't have enough time to plant bomb. So when you peek out right there, you're going to add some hesitation to the opponent. But maybe you die. So that leaves your only other teammate on site, or maybe if you're the only one on site, to have to delay as best as possible. So the execute comes out, they throw smokes, and they're pushing in. You're left alone, and your teammates are just now rotating on A because for some reason they don't want to rotate. That's completely fine as long as you're able to delay as best as possible. So that does not mean you come out here and you swing wide and you're taking a fight. Because what happens is, if you swing wide, you have no cover. You immediately die, and they take site for free. Instead, you want to hold back as best as you can, potentially with utility, but maybe not, and delay for as long as possible. So what you'll do is you'll jiggle peek out, take a few shots, and hide behind cover. Jiggle peek, take a few shots, and you don't even have to be accurate in this regard. All you have to do is you're taking a few shots, and it's almost like suppressing fire, because what players tend to do, not always, but is they tend to push, and then they wait for you to peek. And they'll waste maybe even just 2 seconds or 3 seconds before they push up, they come on out, and if you peek again, they might wait. And all you're doing is you're trying to waste as many seconds as you can. And what you're doing is you push, you keep waiting, you're isolating 1v1s, and then eventually, let's just assume you die, but then you've wasted, let's take it from the start. You come out here, you waste maybe 5 seconds. You spray down banana, you get no kills, you waste 5 seconds for them to delay. You peek them corner, you waste another 5 seconds. They throw nades in, you throw a smoke, you waste another 20 seconds. You come back over to quad, you delay a couple more seconds, let's say 10 seconds. You've wasted now 40 seconds of the enemy's time, which 40 seconds plays a big role. That gives your team enough time to make rotations. That also gives your team enough time to rotate from A through arch, or to also potentially flank. Maybe you have a teammate that likes to play aggressive in apps. So as he's pushing up, he sees that there's no one here. He hears all this commotion over towards B, and he starts taking his time. So he'll push down slowly, he'll be peeking, and he'll push down alt while walking. Those 40 seconds might be the make or break, where as they're executing out to B, he's pushing right behind them on banana. Because often what you'll see, especially at lower levels, is people are all going to be grouping up. They're not going to have someone watching behind. And he could get that surprise 4K that changes around and you win it. All because you decided to make these little plays that are able to delay the enemy. So again, for a quick conclusion, what you are going to want to do whenever you're in any game, this is for any player, is try to delay best you can. You can do this variety of ways. One is dry peeking and just making them hesitate for a couple seconds. Two is as they execute out, throw utilities right when they execute out, or throw utility right before they execute. Because if you throw utility right before they execute, they're going to have to wait to use theirs. They're not going to throw smokes if a smoke's down right now. They're going to wait a couple of seconds. They'll wait out the 13 seconds. Then they're going to throw their smokes, and they're going to push in. But as soon as they start executing, if you're the only one on site, delay as long as possible. You don't have to take up a straight 1v1 or a 1v2 or whatever the situation may call for. Instead, you can shoot and slowly delay, and as soon as you hear them get close, just start spraying away. Maybe you get a lucky kill. Maybe you're able to get a 4K. Who knows? But because you delay, that gives your team enough time to rotate over, to help defend the site, or to flank behind, or be able to rotate just to retake. And that's it. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, and for today's nade, it's going to be a pretty simple one. This is the smoke off pit on A site Inferno. So all you're going to need to do is after you take some middle control through either pushing straight up mid or pushing through alt, you're going to be fighting. Make sure it's completely clear. Make sure no one's going to peek you before you throw this nade, so clear out top of mid. Now all you're going to do is along this grate, you're just going to go directly against this wall. You're going to look up against this little exhaust pipe. You're going to look straight up. And going straight up from the exhaust pipe, and from this point right here on the roof where they intersect, and it doesn't have to be exact, but just roughly, you could go up, click, throw. With a left click, it's going to land right in front of pit. So again, one more time, all you have to do is after you take mid control, go against this grate, run up right against the wall. It doesn't matter exactly if you do it perfect. What you're going to do is against this pipe, go all the way up, intersects with the top of the roof, and you click, throw, which will land exactly in front of pit. Go crazy.